The San Bernardino shooting is the worst mass shooting in the U.S. since Sandy Hook in 2012. It happened less than a week after a deadly shooting at a Planned Parenthood in Colorado, less than a month after the terror attacks in Paris. How do we deal with the increased anxiety that we or someone we love might be a victim of a shooting or of an act of terror? We bring in a good doctor, Dr. Jody Gold. She's a psychiatrist and author of Screen Smart Parenting. I want to talk to you about the anxiety because there's grief right now for all of us that have connections to San Bernardino, to any of us that have connections to somebody that has lost their lives or been injured in a shooting. It's understandable to be anxious. Right. How do we be realistic yet live within this new world order?
So it's really challenging. I think it depends on who we're talking to, right? Because people are affected by this violence in different ways.
Yeah,
right?
We don't all handle things differently.
Right, and even in terms of now that we're seeing domestic shootings on almost a daily basis, we're seeing more and more people being directly affected. Yeah. So whenever there's an attack, there's the survivors, the people we're seeing in San Bernardino.
And we'll talk about that in a second.
And they clearly are going to have a different type of reaction. And then there's now thousands of bystanders, people that were connected, people that had family members or that visited this residential center.
And then there's all of us that watch this
Right.
coverage on our screen that is going to have an effect on us.
Yes, so the effect is different based on where you are, but those of us who watch it on TV vicariously are also going to have an effect.
Okay, so here's the thing. None of us want to let fear win.
Nope.
How do we stay informed yet find a way to turn off and live life? Because there's great beauty in the world.
Oh, yes, there's lots of great beauty in the world, so we need to remember that. We have to understand why this type of anxiety is so insidious. Terrorism, whether it's domestic or international, is sort of unprovoked. We're unprepared for it. We have a hard time.
Our guards are down.
Our guards are down, right? In general, when we're anxious, the way we handle it, especially in America, where we're a sort of can-do nation, we handle it by trying to take control, right? You're afraid of getting in a car wreck, you drive more slowly. You're afraid of failing a test, you study more. So that begs the question of how do we handle this, right? Yeah. So what makes it so anxiety-provoking is that it kind of brings up the fear of the unknown. We don't have control over it. So the question is, what can we do to rein in our anxiety and try to take control of the situation? Well, there's no simple answer. One thing we can do is reassure ourselves that we are taking all the steps to be careful. Yeah. I've noticed with adults recently that what adults try to do, especially with the international terrorism, is they try to learn about the situation.
Stay informed.
Yes, so the idea is that if you're knowledgeable, it's a distorted sense of security, right? Yeah. You can't protect yourself. But I find that we're all trying to become very knowledgeable.
Well, measure the fear. Is it something I realistically need to be afraid of in my life here now? Is it right? I guess that's the equation,
No, we don't need to be afraid of it in our daily life. Right. The truth is that it's not preventable. And we need to go on living our lives. That's the key.
One of the things that I found really interesting is so many people in this anxiety culture that we're in right now, taking it to social media. It's almost as though it's a confessional, it's a way of finding solace. Is that a healthy place? Is that a healthy way to do it?
I think it depends on who you are and how you use the social media. I do think if you're anxious, and especially you're anxious about world events, you want to acknowledge it. Sure. Hiding it and hiding in your house and not going to public events is not the way to solve it. I think we have to be careful about the inundation of information. Yeah. I find... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the final thought that I want to ask you about is our wee ones. A lot of our staff have children, and when these images are up, they're going to have questions. It's going to be everywhere. How do we deal with it?
So first of all, you need to know your kids. Most parents know their kids better than we do, so you can make decisions. With the young kids, I want to protect them. I don't think kids 6 and under need to be watching.
Age appropriate.
It's not age appropriate. I think with middle schoolers and elementary schoolers, you take their lead. I feel very strongly, though, that parents, when it's appropriate, parents should be talking to their kids about this. It's better to hear it from your parents. I don't think kids need to know about every daily shooting, unfortunately. They do need to know about the Paris attacks, and they need to hear it from their parents. But parents need to manage their own anxiety.
Watch their own cues.
Yes,
sure.
Don't overshare.
Yeah.
If your kids want to know a little bit, if it's good and bad, fine. If they want to know more, that's fine. Parents' anxiety sort of overflows, and we give them too much information, and we scare them.
Yeah. We have to own our own stuff and then handle things with our children in a way that is appropriate for them at that age.
Yeah, model it for them.
Model it for them. Jody, we rely on you so much for these kind of situations. I regret we're going to be talking to you more, I'm sure.
I know, unfortunately.
Thank you so much for being here for us and for our viewers.